and it's very old. Not very old. It's we put that fireplace in when Ann was in high school, and so that was in the. She graduated from high school in '80, so that was in that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought it. It's a real expensive clock. I bought it at Gibson's years ago. I have no idea what I paid for it.
Like it's
Locked out.
he's talking to somebody.
Oh, can you get in?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I think it's accurate. We'll probably want to make these shorter, but we'll worry about that in a second.
Maybe a little that way.
Come in. Found
Like
somebody along the way.
one
I'm glad you're here.
He's driving slow, I told it to him.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Gifford,
Good to see ya.
good to see you.
We're trying to get the clock balance.
I hate leaving here with the clock not working. Do you need something that's more like cardstock instead of cardboard?
I think you're doing a pretty good
What's
job there. That
cardstock?
looks about
Like-
it's getting
Like
close.
cereal box
You're gonna just
thickness instead of cardboard thickness. I bet in all this packaging we've got.
no, I think the thickness is good. It's just
Got the rest.
no.
You just eyeballing it, or you got a level?
Eyeballing. Well, this has
You got a
Oh.
level in your truck?
level functionality with the.
Yeah, it's just you can eyeball level with that. as well.
Right,
Yeah.
You've got a plumb bob. I can't remember what the hell they call it.
A log bob?
You know, you hang it from a string and
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, phone line kind of thing.
yeah, it's a little weighted thing with a point on it. It's a plumb bob.
that's pretty close.
Yeah.
And yeah, with cardstock would probably be the one that gets it even more perfect. And yeah, if you just trim these up so they're not so slightly.
I think that clock's worth about
It's priceless, Mama.
$10,000, and if you mess it up, Tad, you gotta come up with $10,000. You
Get
gotta
any closer than that.
right on hand. You said you didn't know nothing about mules. I want you to find out.
Oh, all right.
Really?
There's just a whole bunch of little short stories about it. It was
Oh, that's cool.
growing up.
Scalpel.
What we did, we have, you know, our dad used to borrow the mule, our neighbor's mule down here and plow with it. You know, so I've actually stood there, you know, watched up close and personal. You know, I have seen, and apparently he put in a lot of miles behind the mule growing up. You know,
Yeah.
how many mules did Paul Bill ever have? I mean, did you ever? I mean, more than one, or do you have any idea?
Oh, Bill, I remember this one old white mule that they had after they moved up to
Peter,
Gainesville,
right?
that they made syrup, you know, that run the syrup mill.
So that's what that mule was mostly. I remember one time, you know, he had an old sled that
what's wrong with it.
Yeah,
It's one of the
and
things
he had a corn patch, you know, down there where the dam of that pond at Lake is now.
think
And
that
one
was
time, me and Kent we rode in that sled behind that. You know, he had some couple sacks of fertilizer, and Glenn was already down there doing something, some kind of work at the. Anyway, getting, you know, he was already down there doing some kind of work, doing something, and we were little. I mean, you know, and I remember riding in that old sled.
You talking about when the goat got you?
No,
There was,
he ain't telling about the goat.
I ain't got to that yet. I will.
I think it was cutting firewood that day. They had that old box like trailer, you know. They'd throw.
Yeah, he had that old sled, box sled.
Yeah,
Like,
that-
no, he had a
that's
plow.
when the goat got you, I think. Or no?
I think, I don't know, we just wandered off that. Well, we went,
That's the only time I remember.
I just remember me and Kip in that, riding in that sled. I don't remember being, particularly being on the sled when the goat thing was, Daddy and them had bought a goat. I think, didn't Daddy buy the thing and take it over there to Paul Bill? And Paul Bill was moving it around and everything. Then we wound up barbecuing the thing. You know, that was the purpose.
I just remember. If you ever around a goat and they stand there and they turn their head a little bit sideways, you better look out. He's getting a beat over there.
Anyway, it was a small goat, but I was small. So, and I made the mistake of walking up to it, and it was looking at me. And I just reached out and grabbed both of its horns. Well, that was the trigger. Next thing, I'm flying backwards, and I landed in briars, so I couldn't move.
They had him tied out in briar patch.
Yeah, so he could eat. Paul Bill was just moving him along that old road bed down there, so it helped clear the old road bed, I reckon. But anyway, I just remember Paul Bill standing over me, laughing and laughing, and I was just like, I couldn't move because anything I did. Anyway, he had to lift me up
And then to wind it, we
and get me out of the briars.
the directions until they feel tight.
It's something you
And
wouldn't
then we
forget.
do
No, no.
what?
But yeah, I can
both
remember
sides
riding in that
of
old
the
sled behind that
What
white
time
mule.
is it?
Paul Bill's walking over here to the
Like
side
almost
with the
11 o'clock.
reins beside us.
Or just
And me and Kip was riding in that sled. There was
No.
a plow in there with us and
Oh,
a
wait,
couple of
till
sacks of, it might have been seed. I know it was some fertilizer. It was a couple of 3 or 4 bags of 50, little 50-pound bags of fertilizer.
Just leave it alone for an hour and
I remember that.
so we don't have to run it
And that-
all the way around because it's a
Probably kind of
twirl.
fun when you're a kid to ride on the sled.
Oh
like
yeah, that was a
But you
treat.
can go ahead and
Ride on anything.
when it gets 12 o'clock.
And then
Turn that side first and it's supposed to last 31 days, but it don't, because it's got tired. Got arthritis.
Y'all ate breakfast this morning.
What's the biscuit? Hardy's biscuit.
We got I bought a box of chicken.
Oh, you some of
Full
the
gang with chicken. We'll see how far that goes.
Well, I've got some more and it's
I got up at 5:30. I
Yeah.
fixed me something to eat about 6:30, and that was long enough that I snacked on a couple things since then. So I usually don't eat actual lunch till about 1 o'clock or so.
Alright, and then I turn this side the opposite way.
Right. When you're turning it counterclockwise. You do it.
That'd be working, right? It would be clicking.
And the thing appeals to us is too, that's about, our grandfather that was a mule trader. And then my dad was born in 1928, so he would have been right around that guy's age, maybe a little younger than this guy. Or the guy, the time period that he's talking about most of those stories. My dad and his older brother, Uncle Cecil, and our grandfather, all.
Uncle Cecil was a veterinarian, so that was probably his oldest.
And he had the first Polaroid camera that I come out in the 50s, and he took that. Somebody took a Polaroid picture of our Uncle Cecil sitting on a mule, this big old tall mule, and there's Uncle Cecil sitting on top of it.
No,
And then at the
tall
bottom
mule.
of the Polaroid picture, he wrote, "Just sitting on my ass worrying."
Where is this picture?
It's
It's
still
around
around
here.
somewhere.
But it wasn't no tall mule. It was just a little old bitty thing.
Well,
Peek at this.
I was thinking it was a pretty good sized mule.
No, it
No,
wasn't that big. It was
probably
more like an ass. A little.
So it really probably was a donkey instead of a big donkey instead of a
Uncle
mule.
Cecil
So he was, which are
was a big man that made the little mule.
It's amazing how much they depended on mules, and I mean it was like us talking about getting a new car. You know, it was just a way of life.
It says right here, chief source of tractive power on the local farms and across the entire South.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just the South. I'm sure it was.
Oh, probably, yeah. Across the country, yeah.
And,
Yeah, and
and
it talks
still
about-
today, those mules, if you go out there, go down into Great
Yeah,
Canyon, you're
we have
allowed
to
to
wait
use
till
them
it's
because they're so
Set an
slow.
alarm.
11.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people raise them. There's a guy up here in Tennessee. I've seen that Tennessee Crossroads. There's a guy, he specializes in raising mules and selling them to people that do that kind of, you know, there's all kind of outfitters
Fitters
out
and
west.
stuff, right.
thought
I just remember years ago when we were, I mean, I was
Cecil's picture.
probably in my early 20s, mid 20s or something, that were Bonbon Bills or somebody, some local kid around there, and one guy was riding a horse, and this other guy, he had it wasn't a really big mule, but it was, anyway, they come riding up, and he talked about what a good ride, that particular mule was a good ride. And, you know, Kip Franklin and his dad, they kept mules and roped to ride. And they used to go back into Grassy Mountain and spend a week during hunting, you know, season back in, I guess what he was in.
Wasn't that long ago?
Yeah. Because Kip was the one that said that he, he'd come and get that mule out of the barn.
Lee.
And they had a corral built out there, you know, right there going in his driveway before that barn on the left. They had a corral, you know, and he'd take the mule out of the barn and put it out there in the corral. And then he'd get some feed it. And I guess that just got it out of there so he could muck out the barn a little, I don't know what. But anyway, he said, for whatever reason, he also hobbled the mule. I think he was going to do something, maybe saddle it up. I don't even know, but I just know the whole thing was he got there, he took the mule out in the corral, and he put the hobbles on it. And it was standing right there at the end of the barn. He walked back in the barn to get something, and I guess maybe it was some of the tack or something, you know, a saddle or something. When he comes walking back out, he said that darn mule was all the way on the other side of the corral. And he was like, you know, being hobbled, how did he get over there? And said it happened a couple of times. So the next time he went, after, you know, he said he hobbled that horse, and then he just stepped inside the barn and just peeked through a crack between some boards to watch him. And he said that darn mule reared up on it, and then hopped on its hind legs. He said it looked like a giant kangaroo. He said it was the funny, you know, he just stood there just laughing.
Talks about all the different characters the mules were. I mean, all their, every one of them individual had
Clocking this out.
or a lot of them were real individualistic.
And that's why if you got a good team a pair that work together, because like, Robert was talking about, he was like me, kind of surprised to find out that some mules are right-handed or left-handed. You know, they work better if you put them on. So you know, if you built with mules, you learn how to discern all that. And if you ever got a pair that, you know, if you needed rigs that needed tandem, a pair of mules to pull, you know, it was really a valuable thing to have two that work together well.
And you know, the other thing about this book is that our granddaddy was a mule trader. His daddy was a mule trader, and he was sought after because he knew all this stuff about mules, and he could pick a good one for you to sell you.
Yeah, people would seek him out to go to the mule sale.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'd get there early before an auction or a sale, and he'd go in and, you know, observe them and watch them, and he'd say, yeah, get that one over here. And
Exactly
you know,
like
just by watching it and how it moved and all
You
this.
remember him talking about taking his hat off and seeing how jumpy they were and
Nervous and all that.
touching them and feeling them. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
it's like, right now you can go if you buying big equipment. You deal with Caterpillar. There's guys that are specialists at buying used stuff. You know.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if you wanting something, you know, you'll go to this guy and say, I want one of these, and you got this size and whatever. Find me one, you know, whatever, and they can advise you.
Assess that and value it, yeah.
Do the same way with them new.
Yeah, they were a big investment, it sounds like. So just
Yeah,
get it going.
and for something you're going to have to deal with for several years. Because, you know, I think a mule will live as long as 30 years, you
That
know.
was wrong, the other one over there.
Early,
Did you find that picture yet?
Well, Lee looks.
and you don't have a working life
Lee
of 20,
looks a
you
lot
I think
like
it might
you
be
do.
better.
Yeah.
20, 25 years.
They don't look alike now. I don't think. Do
I
you?
think Mama needs a new album.
I think that's what I was thinking just as well. Just reset that in a new album.
This one's got a lot of candid pictures in it.
Oh!
You broke your back? That's cousins.
Oh yeah, these are all kinds of cousins in here.
Maybe Uncle Cecil be in it, I don't know.